Joe.
Hi, I'm Danny. We're here with Deen and Amin from AROUK. Hi guys. Can you tell me a little bit about the Rohingya community in Bradford, how you guys got here and what your experience like is in Bradford?
Thank you very much, Danny and Joe, for having us this afternoon in regards to what we do as AROUK and as a community in Bradford. First of all, my name is Mohammed Amin. I worked as the International Director of AROUK. As AROUK been existing in Bradford since 2009, so we're compared to other groups, we're very small, but as we grow in rapidly in last 10 years with our, support of our volunteers and their initiative. So normally AROUK do is locally, we tend to help in terms of education, so improving the language need within the Rohingya community and also other people, and helping them day-to-day needs in terms of looking for jobs and benefits, and also signposting to the immigration advice. We don't do ourselves, but we signpost to the local area, basically helping people to try to integrate and to use the system that exists in Bradford, making life better for Rohingya community and also other asylum seeker and refugee community that around us, not just only for Rohingya. And we also work international level, where we work with a local and international government body who are trying to help the cause of Rohingya people, as it's a prolonged crisis that ongoing for many years. Probably have heard in the news and seen, and it's still more than 1.3 million Rohingya people live into in one of the largest refugee camp in Cox's Bazar. So there is a humanitarian need, massive humanitarian needs, and big gap for education, especially children who are out of school, last 4 years now. And so we work with them to advocacy to bring support for them in terms of food and education, and also and a part of the bringing justice towards how our people can go back to their own place and live there peacefully. That's what we do as AROUK.
That's fantastic. Yeah, so lots of great work. Can you tell us a little bit about how both of you ended up in Bradford in the north of England, how you got out of those refugee camps in Bangladesh?
If we talk about this, the Rohingya, is back in histories. It was back in 1962 when our, officially our Rohingya people started, again persecuted by our own government in Burma by the military. So in I remember when I heard from my parents when they fled to Bangladesh in 1992 in between, then they seek refuge to Bangladesh. So since then, they have been living in Bangladesh refugee camp. There's 2 refugee camps specifically are recognized by the UNHCR and Bangladesh government called Nayapra and Kutupalong. So we have been living there and before we come to the Bradford. So, and there's no future for us. We've been living there for many years. We don't have no education, no livelihood, no improvement of futures. We're just living like in open prison with limited clothes, limited resource. We don't even mean to go outside. It's just literally in the prison, like within the certain area, into a camps, and our life is. That's it. I had nothing. So and then later in 2005, the UN, which is the UNHCR, they then coordinated a project, a program called resettlement, which is work with the UK government called that time used to call it was called GD is something called a global resettlement scheme or something. Run by the governments of UK. So, and in 2008, then they have taken people under that program and into UK. So since 2008 it started, and then it's been well ongoing for a couple of years. And then all of a sudden, then the Bangladesh government put a restriction. They're not allowing any more people taken out from those camps. So that was a bit sad for, as I have still, family, parents who were even Deen's godparents, siblings still left behind in those refugee camps. Even we are very grateful to the government and having the opportunity coming through that scheme and to the UK, and now being able to speak and to represent our people. But still sad, not being able to bring those family members are still, in the camps stuck here. and crying loud.
Yeah, it sounds terrible, very sad. It's always horrible when families separated, and even worse when they're under circumstances like an open prison, like you said. But since you made it to Bradford, you started doing all this wonderful community work. Obviously, the big issue at the moment is this COVID pandemic, unfortunately. What are you guys doing to help your community and other communities deal with this COVID pandemic?
Yes, obviously the COVID pandemic, it's a global crisis. It's not just only in Bradford or in the UK. It's really affecting across the world. So as of a small community, and we didn't when we found out our temporarily community center in Quaker Meeting House been closed, then we become hopeless. Even though in the hopeless, we instantly make a decision like how we could, because this is the time to help the community, because our community is more vulnerable in terms of language need, because many of people can't read and write. So there's a big gap. So we need to help them to understand the local restriction and guidelines, what's been happening, what's been said, and what's the procedure, how they can meet and how they can go shopping. So there's a panic attack that ongoing to every communities pretty much. So and then me and Deen, within our small team that we work with, we actively have some sort of engagement, how we could overcome and helping the community. So we find out a lot of our people find out like what's called increase of food poverty, especially when schools are closed and they're not getting their free meals which they're entitled to, and people are rely on benefits, and people are loss of jobs. Like the many people are used to work in a factory or restaurant as the hospitality is closed down. So there's a lot of like food provision, food deprivation. So which we worked and then we look for some support, which is we managed to secure some funding from the HM government and National Lottery and also Bradford Council in order to serve people with some food packs and which we have been doing actively since then last 7-8 months and packing them and delivering them to door, so that people we're not calling people to come and collect it. We're delivering them to their doorstep, making it easy for them to access, and also not forgetting those people are isolating, especially of COVID, restrictions. Yeah, and we've been doing this. And we've been doing this just not for only for Rohingya people. It could be anybody are in needs of support, in need of food, who are more worried or in restriction or in kind of a lockdown. They can't come out. So we helping anybody contact us or refer any family. We work with the schools. We work with the other African community, Roma community. We have the Pakistani and Bangladeshi community, along, of course, the Rohingya community. We support them.
It's all really good work, that. And did you when you started doing these food provisions, where did you start sourcing the ingredients from? Did you have to find a big bulk dealer to do it?
The first food program we work with, we must mention his name. He's from Bradford, Future Inspire Foundations. Is guy called Moshi, who he contact us, in terms of distributing some food and volunteer with him, and we did 2 projects volunteering with him, and then we're thinking where we can get some support and do our own sort of program and to lead the project ahead. And then as of you need a space for packing stuff, right? So when you get resource and when you go this food and would have a space, so we then contact with one of the suppliers. We asked them in Manningham Lane, not to mention it's Alpha supermarket, and then the manager was very kind, very supportive. He said you can use our car park whenever you need it, and then just do it as you go, clean as you go. So that was the support we have been getting from them, and we get supplies from Morrison, Asda, Tesco, and of course from them Alpha as well, because they're a big supermarket and they do provide the halal ingredients, if I say that. because we work with mostly Muslim community. Majority of our service user and beneficiary are Muslims, so they require things to be halal, and so we get most of our packaging items from Alpha supermarket, and of course other supermarket as well. And the thing is, we are very grateful to them is having the space for packing, especially COVID, nobody's allowing people to be in. So we have about 10, 12 volunteers that come along and for packing stuff. So yeah, it's been going very well, and we are very proud and what we do, and of course grateful to our volunteers who put enormous of times of their times and in putting this and packing, delivering to people's doorstep, not forgetting the community. That's brilliant.
And how did you get the list of people who need the food provisions? Did someone give you it?
So how it's work is, obviously, we know as a community people ourselves, we have direct contact with the families. As of our work supportive, we have a family groups in circle that we know which families are most in need. However, along knowing our community, we also put our information effectively, on a social media, on Facebook, on WhatsApp group, and also other other community-led people who could then pass to their family network group. Like, let's say we have someone from African community who we know is a representative of the community. So we pass those details. We said, if you have some family members, in needs of, this support, and we're more than happy to help you, or you can facilitate that to your community. So that way we get the list. And then of course the council then provide our detail to the public domain, which means all the school within our within our postcode area, which is BD1 to BD10, that is our main postcode area. So those schools that then have our public contact detail, and then they contact us saying, say, AROUK, we've got this detail, so what's you doing for this Christmas holiday or Easter holiday or half-term February holiday? So we say this we're doing, and then they then circulate those details to the family who would be more in need, and then the family contact us, and then we take the list from there. So it's always publicly advertised and announced to so that it's be benefited for everyone, not minority.
It's also published by the Bradford Council as well. Obviously, they put all the the organizations in Bradford. They made them a list of the organization, and that's supplied through the schools. And even myself, I got one of the flyers, like a booklet, through my kids from their school, and I checked it, and I saw all the organization there, including ours, like AROUK, and obviously, and then people knew that that we are doing the food, helping with the food, and the people contacted us, and the people rang us, and they said, oh, so we found your details on the booklet, and that you're providing food, so can we have food pack, please, because we need it. And obviously we supplied that way as well. So it's really good approach. Yeah,
that's how we get in the details. Yeah, as Nuri was mentioning, because the even council itself sending letter out to families across Bradford, and they have the details of the all organization listed within their area, so they could have choose anyone to contact it. Because as I mentioned, about the halal food, because some people, I experienced this, because probably Deen doesn't aware of this, because I am the main contact person in AROUK, so I've got calls coming from saying, are you providing halal food, because our family need halal food. So then we can then give them intense information, what's in the pack, not just telling them, oh, his food is food. So the school saying our family doesn't want to just receive the food pack, they want to know what's inside. So a few schools, not to mention from background and from a new primary school, they said to me, by hearing me telling them into the description of what we've got in the food, they was really happy, saying that, Mohammed, you guys are doing very well, and also very well describe what you put inside. A lot of people just say, just on a food pack, we don't know what's inside.
So what is in a typical food pack then? Is it rice? Is it what kind of food?
Typical food pack, we've got the rice, we've got eggs, we've got bread, we've got milk, we've got sugar, we've got tea bag, we've got we've got orange juice for kids, and we've got cereal, and we've got oatmeal, and we've got tins of beans, chickpeas, yes, and the crepes for kids, for especially for school holidays. So these are very important that we put a lot of food for the kids, for children to enjoy. Yeah, and bread and chocolate.
Yeah.
So they can eat with bread. Yeah, and yeah, I've got lots quite good standard and good brand. All our foods are very high standard and good brand, not just cheap quality that we get from here and there and bargain shops. So it's a very maintained and well good quality. So we want to make them happy, make them family happy, and knowing that it's what they buy from supermarket, not just only we in the means of providing food and just in the food park, but inside it just cash and carry all this books and book in half and like buying one and splitting into like different pieces. No, our food parks are very genuinely, it's well organized, and a big happy hampers anybody could receive would be very happy. Not just only food, we also done the Christmas treat for children. About up to 260 children we have provided a Christmas present, like little sweet treats, just to make them happy, even though this difficult time they've been isolated at home, frustration, not having the treat from family. So we're not forgetting them. We have to provide some little support in terms of Christmas treats. And of course, now Easter holiday coming. Easter is one of the sweetest of the season, a holiday in the year in English calendar. So even our next food program are coming in place, for Easter holiday for 2 weeks. So we also, keeping something for children's for Easter treats, because children's are always the first priority. Whatever we do, they are the heart,
Yeah, in the future.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, you mentioned a lot of kids are out of school in Bangladesh in these refugee camps. And obviously with the COVID pandemic, a lot of kids have also been out of school in this country. Have you managed to put together any activities, anything to keep the kids busy, happy, having fun, enjoying themselves?
Well, it's always, if you can see my background, there's a flyers, you can see education is our top priority, because if we're talking about the personal point of view, education, where I was grown up, 17 years, I did have nothing. No access to no meaningful education. I had education up to primary level. They're not meaningful education. They are just in place there as education. Just go to school and grab a packet of biscuit. That sort of education I was there. And 17 years, imagine 17 years, if you put into a place with the food and schools, then you would be like brilliant. Imagine. So having given nothing. So that's my personal experience. So in this refugee camp I'm talking about, where more than 500,000 children are in this, without having access to no education, and not even meaningful education, not meaningful or any other education. So education is always our priority, to educate people. As a community, we believe we're trying to teach people how to catch fish, not how to eat fish, because catching fish will help them sustain, to grow, to build the community together, to be stand on our own feet. Because
what kind of activities did you do back in August?
Back in August, we have done physical activity, like cardboard play games for kids, for girls. So depending on the age group, from about 6 to under 17, basically under 18. So we get the highest is under 17. So we have 2 groups, that comes at a time 10 people, mix of boys and girls. So they can play skipping, as I mentioned, ball, basketballs and footballs. We take them into the park to a room, so where they play football, and it's hula hoops. hula hoops, and we have cram, we have ludo, and we have art and craft. So they could, like mix and match up, activity that physical and also that what's called, kind of
Mental.
their creativity. They could do some, some fun, play around and making face masks, things like that. Yeah, and also their ideal house and their ideal place to visit, things like that. So it was fun, and they knew. I think Nuri was saying, on behalf of Refugee Week last year. Refugee Week is a celebration of across the UK that celebrate refugee resilience and solidarity with refugee people. So on the Refugee Week, we have done art competition. So providing the resource to kids, participant to their home, so they could participate from home and then submit their work by email. And we have done this across the Bradford District, and we have 3 well-praised winners. And then those 3 winners, we have awarded their award by doing a award ceremony, and that ceremony was covered by the ITV itself, and it's came into the news. So that was actually even though that's difficult time, even we had to do online and extra work, and we have done it just for the sake of the helping children in need, and to give them some work, so to bring their imagination and creativity of being in lockdown. So we give them some work and provide all the materials, paper and everything. So with their parents, with their adults or their guardian, they could do work at home and then send to us by taking pictures. And we put them into we have more than 50 participants across Bradford District, mix and match of different communities. And we have 3, as I mentioned, 3 winners who then we awarded the trophy and also some vouchers to buy some food, like things like that. And we did work with for this project. We work with the creative artwork community that based in Great Horton Road. Actually it was mentioned that. So basically saying that even not having a central base, we're still working from home as an individual and put that much work in place. And imagine having a well coordinated and having a base and office and training as well, and that would help them do much better work in place. More better diversity and more like engagement of our community into the wider society.
Yeah, what you 2 do is great, and you put up a lot of resilience, even though there's no building yet, but hopefully soon there'll be a building. This is this great chatting to you both again, and hopefully we can do an interview in a couple of weeks when you can tell us all about Rohingya culture and all the amazing things that you have.
Thank you very much, Joe and Danny, again for having us this afternoon, and it's lovely talking to you, and we look forward to talking to you again in the near future. Thanks for all your support again. Really appreciate it. It means a lot.
Thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
Take care. Yeah, go on. You can stop the recording.